Welcome, everybody, to our event today, Food Storage 101. I am Jody. I run a blog and I have a book called Food Storage Made Easy. So I've been teaching people how to do preparedness and food storage for 12 or 13 years now, a long time. It makes me feel old when I say that. So, and I am joined tonight by my co-host, Krista Hampton. So she has been doing the food storage side of this business with me for going on 12 years. So she is a newer blogger. She's just relaunching a blog. I'm super excited about it. It's going to be all about food, finances, and fun with travel. So I'm going to let her introduce herself real quick. If you want to unmute Miss Krista.
Yes. So I am Krista Hampton. I'm actually in Phoenix, Arizona, locally, and Jody's in Pennsylvania, which is awesome because we're on two separate sides of the earth, pretty much, right? But yeah, I have been doing food storage and all sorts of emergency preparedness expos and fairs and all the things for a very long time. So, and my how I got into it is I just wanted some food storage for my own family, right? We had been through some things, and I just wanted to be able to feed my family in case of any kind of emergency. And we're going to talk more about that later. But that's how I got started. And so everything I've learned, I've either learned from Jody or other resources out there, right? There's lots of different resources out there. And we're going to talk about some of that stuff too coming up. So, but yeah, that's me. And that's where I am. And I'm excited to be here.
So we like doing these classes together because it's more fun to kind of talk back and forth, and so you don't get tired of listening to one person drone on and on for an hour. We are going to try to keep it under an hour tonight. We have so much to go over because this is a huge topic. I mean, each little section could be an entire hour-long class in and of itself. So we are going to go fast. We're going to try to give ideas for keeping things simple to just get started. But if this is something you want to dive more into later, let us know, and we can do more classes. We can do individual classes for you. There's lots more that we could dive into. So just keep in mind, we are going to give you a big overhead 101 overview, but there's so much more to do. We only have an hour. So we're going to try to keep it under an hour. So if you do have questions or comments, leave them in the chat. So whoever's not talking, we'll try to manage chat. And so if we don't answer it out loud or right now, we'll make sure to address it later. So a couple of things too, at the very end of the class, we're going to do a giveaway. We have 4 prizes to give away. So I'll talk about more of those at the end. So you have to be on live. So if you're watching the replay, sorry, but we're going to do a giveaway at the very end and talk about some Black Friday sales because next week is Thanksgiving and Black Friday. I'm not ready. I'm not ready to go there yet, but we will be going there. Because once you figure out that you need food storage, then you get anxious and you're like, I want to get it and I want to get it at the best prices. So we're going to give you all of that today. So I'm going to check my notes. So we're going to start real quick on why food storage. That is how I always start my classes because some people hear food storage and they think Tupperware or food saver bags. But food storage is long-term food storage. So food that's going to be good today and good tomorrow and good 20 years from now, right? So why would you want to have a food storage? And you guys can leave, like, I would love if this was a total group discussion, but so do the group discussion in the comments, but what are some reasons why you would want to have a food storage? So I have 5 main ones that we teach about. So natural disasters is kind of the big one that seems normal to people. They understand that there's all kinds of crazy things that can happen with earthquakes and hurricanes and floods and fires and things where, now I'm big. Okay. So anything that could happen where you might lose power for a short while and then you don't have heat and cooling and you might not be able to leave because you're snowed into your house. So all those kind of things are some of the more common reasons people store food. But there's also economic crisis, and that's a more personal, like individual thing. So for me, we had a job loss at the beginning of my food storage journey, and we were able to eat out of our food storage for 3 months, which made our savings last longer till we could get a new job. So that was really important to me. Also, I think when the overall economy is in crisis, which you could say right now is a big thing. If you have food storage, then prices go up at the grocery store. You're not as affected. I am eating food that I bought 10 years ago when prices were much cheaper. And so that can make a huge difference. Or even if like there's not truck, like there's shortage of shipping and trucks and all of that can be a reason why you might want to have a stockpile of food. There are also a lot of good health benefits to eating this way and storing food and making things from scratch and being self-reliant. Whole grains are very healthy. You're cooking more from scratch, so you're avoiding preservatives. If you have allergies, then it can be a really good idea to store your own food because you might not always be able to have access to something that's gluten-free or dairy-free. That's been a big thing for me lately because I am gluten-free now. And so I can't always eat all the things I'm teaching people to cook, but that's okay. And then one of my favorites is just everyday emergencies. And so you might run out of milk right in the middle of cooking dinner, or your kid tells you, I need to bring cookies to school today. And it's 10 minutes before you have to leave. So there's all kinds of little things, or maybe someone's sick or someone had a baby, things where if you have extra food on hand, you can bless someone else's lives, or you can just make your life easier. Even if your emergency is, I hate chopping onions, like have onions in your food storage. You don't have to chop onions anymore. And then the last one is for religious reasons. So a lot of churches believe in this concept of self-reliance, frugality, and if that's the only reason you start because your church leaders told you to, somewhere along the line, you're going to realize like a belief in these other reasons that we're going to talk about as we go through the day today. So hopefully that gives you a little idea of why we even want to do this. We're not just crazy like preppers preparing for the zombie apocalypse. There's so many reasons why. And we store what we eat what we store. So this has become a way of life for me and Krista both. So we're going to share a little of all of that with you today. So Krista is going to go over 72-hour kits with you first. That's kind of the basic starting point of a food storage. If she can unmute. You're muted, Krista.
Sorry, when you mute everybody, it includes me. Okay, so 72-hour kits. I'm going to talk a little bit about 72-hour kits. And so I first off want to say, take everything with a grain of salt, okay? Just because we do it one way doesn't mean it isn't done a different way, right? We're going to give you lots and lots of ideas, and we're going to try and get them out to you in an hour, right? So we've got a lot of things to cover in a very little amount of time. So that means that pick and choose one or two things that you would like to start working on and go from there, right? This will be recorded. Go back and watch it a couple of times. It's not that big of a deal, right? I don't want people to get overcome with anxiety over 72-hour kits, right? Or anything we talk about, right? So there's my preface, and I hope just take one or two or three little nuggets from this entire night and just move forward, right? It's not something that's going to happen overnight. And we're going to talk about a lot of different things, but just because my 72-hour kit, I actually bought and then I added to and made it my own, doesn't mean that that's the way that Jody does it. I don't know. Right. So just take it for what it is and make it yours. Okay. There's my disclaimer. Okay. So now we're going to talk about my 72-hour kits. I have a couple of these bug out bags. These are ones that they got me started. Right. So I bought them because they supposedly had everything I needed. Right. But here's the reality. Okay. We're going to go through it just for a minute. Like here's a tent, right? Here's a tent and emergency blankets. They're the foil ones. Saw a guy at the airport using one of those, by the way. Yeah. And so there's hand warmers and there's glow sticks and there's all sorts of different things in here, right? But here's what I found, because I haven't been in my kits in a while. So there's the honest truth, right? Check this out. This is, let me get my glasses on. SOS rations deurgents. They are emergency rations. You're supposed to eat these.
Have you ever tasted that?
I don't think I ever want to. That could be
I made my kids eat it and they were all like, bleh, bleh, bleh. So I was like, that was my whole food plan for our kids. It was terrible.
Right? It's terrible. I would never eat this. And I know that there are people out there. I run into a lot of people. In fact, some of you are probably on this call. In fact, I know one that I had a conversation with last weekend. I know who you are. I remember your name. And we talked about that. We talked about how I'm going to eat anything. I'm totally going to eat anything if I'm hungry enough. Yes, that's true. But I don't want to stress over a meal. I'm comfort food girl, right? You can see me and tell that. Okay, so this is what's in my 72-hour kit. Guess what's being thrown away later? This number one, it's expired. So you got to go through your kits. And I'm going to practice what I preach. But look what else is in here. I have Thrive Life meals, right? These are amazing. So when you're talking about 72-hour kits, you want to make sure that you have, there's a couple things that you want to make sure. Food, obviously, that is probably one of the number one things you need to have in your 72-hour kit. So you need food, and 72-hour kits are for those emergencies when you need to either get somewhere to be safe, or you have a family plan that makes you get somewhere safe because something's happened and you're waiting for help, right? So an example, you'll hear about this one, Hurricane Katrina. It took FEMA 3 days, at least 3 days, more like 6 or 7, to get where they needed to go, right? That's when shelters started being built and people were out of food. There was no food, and there was nothing down there for weeks, and there was no ice, and it was the middle of the summer or the end of the summer. But this is what you need these for, right? In a situation where you might have to leave your home, right? And so people put changes of clothes in here. They put toiletries. Look at this first section. I have my toilet in a bag. So I have toilet paper and I have hand sanitizer right here in the back, right here in the front, because that's probably what you're going to need a lot, right? So major point is that you need food. You need to know how to cook. So maybe you have a little stove in here. I have a different little stove kit that I actually would bring with me. I have your main things in here and other ones in another bag that include my little solar light. I have a little solar light. This guy is really cool, right? He's bright and then he gets brighter and brighter and brighter, right? And this can be crank done. There's a USB, so I can make sure that my phone is charged, because we're all going to need our phones, right? Lots of different cool little features on that guy. So you want to have lighting. You want to make sure that you have enough water for 3 days for all of the people in your family, right? Grab your emergency binder. I couldn't even find mine. I know Jody's got hers. So horrible at this. But here's the other disclaimer. We are human and we are real. So my emergency binder, it's in there, packed away actually, but you need to grab that. It's got your important papers in there. Oh, that's where it is. It's in my safe. I didn't even look at my safe. I know, everyone, you can laugh at me. I'm hilarious. It's great. So point being is that your 72-hour kit is very important, and it should be a staple, and it should be gone through on a regular basis in your house, right? One other thing that you can take. So yes, you have your bug out bag, but check this out. If you need food, somebody can be in charge of just bringing the bucket, right? So this is a bucket. These are all the new freeze-dried meals from Thrive Life, and they are fabulously tasting, right? So this is part of my 72-hour kit now, this whole bucket, because I can just throw this in the car and I am good. It's 36 servings of meals, so it'll feed my entire family for 3 days for sure, and then some probably. So that is another great thing
and it's not heavy. And not very heavy.
No, it's not. Look, I have a horrible back right now. I hurt my back 3 weeks ago. So, and I can still lift it, right? So yeah, it's definitely not heavy, and you can just throw it in the car and go if you need to go. And that's why they call them bug out bags, because you're going to bug out if you need to, right? Did I miss anything?
So I put a handout. Mildred can't hear us. Most people can hear. So if you can't hear, just try log out and back in. So I put a handout link in the chat that gives you like a whole list of ideas of contents and food, and you can make your own food kits if you want, but I've always ended up throwing a lot of that away. So I love the 20-year shelf life on these new meals. And then the emergency binder, there's instructions how to make your own there too. And the one I was holding up, this is an item that is for sale, and it just walks you through everything. It has special pockets for each different item, like passports and social securities. That is a Black Friday special too. So I'll share that later at the end. But yeah, that was awesome. 72-hour kit. If you have a house fire, if you have like, try to brainstorm in your idea. What's a reason you might be asked to evacuate, and then try to prep for that thing. That's kind of where I come down on with that.
That's great. Jody is really awesome about that kind of stuff. She has her 7-day challenge where she actually lives off of everything she's learned over her years of experience, right? Which is awesome. I want to join that one of these days, but I need to plan for that.
That's when my kids were eating that nasty food, right? So
yes, I was at your house one year.
You were at my house during one, remember?
Yeah,
yes,
there was no power on that day.
And we were eating, like playing board games at the table in the dark. So the Black Friday special I was just showing is this Prepare My Life planner. So we'll send links in the show notes after for those things. It's usually, I think, $129. I don't know pricing exactly yet. So it's not time yet, guys. I still have a week to figure it out, right? Okay. So we're going to move on to the next thing. So starting off, get your 72-hour kit, okay? If you have a 72-hour kit, I think I heard a statistic, you'll be more prepared than 90% of people in America or Canada, right? So we like Canadians on here too. I am Canadian. So then after you get that, have you guys ever heard you can live for 2 minutes without air, 2 days without water, and 2 weeks without food? Sometimes I hear 3, 3, 3, right? So water storage, I think I need to make you the spotlight.
Or make you the spotlight. There you go.
We got it.
Good deal.
No, I'm big. So I feel like water storage is probably the most important thing, because you can kind of go out and scavenge for food. But if you don't have water, you're in big trouble, especially right away. Like someone was saying, Katrina, like there was no water. They did not have access to clean, fresh water. So there's lots of ways to store water. A couple of the things that I like for in my disaster kits are these little cute things. These are nice for the car because they don't freeze in your car. So I like having some of that. My best thing for water storage right now is the water brick. This is usually one of my Black Friday specials too. So they're 3.5 gallons. So they're not super heavy. They're a little bit heavy. They're like 30 pounds, because I think water is 8 gallons or 8 pounds a gallon. But they come with, well, you can order a spigot that goes with it. So you undo this, do the spigot. I just set it down on my counter. Woo! And my kids will come and drink and use it. We do all the dishes and things like that right there with my water brick. That is like my drinking water. You should be storing 1 to 2 gallons of water per day, per person, for, you see all these ranges, 3 to 14 days. So some experts say 3 days. That is not enough. That is not enough water. Like maybe help will come in 3 days, but do you want to be sitting here hoping your water doesn't run out? I plan for 14 days, 2 gallons. So 1 gallon for drinking, 1 gallon for washing and cleaning and cooking. That's my bare minimum. And then have access to another source for water. So where's your nearest freshwater source? Or do you have a purifier so that you collect water and purify it? You never know. There's so many different emergencies that can happen with water. So those are the main things to start. Get some containers. You can refill 2-liter pop bottles if you clean them out really well. Some people don't like doing that, but if it's for short term to just have some water, or buy some cases of bottled water, it's okay. It will not kill you to drink bottled water. Eventually it expires because the plastic starts to degrade. So get something, have some water, have a little water stored in multiple places in your house. So I keep a 2-liter bottle under each bathroom sink. So if there's, for some reason, our water's turned off, like we had some repairs on a shower and our water was off, and every kid just had some water in there, they could still brush their teeth. Just the little things, right? So the 55-gallon barrels, I have 3 of those in my garage, and you usually will want to add some kind of purification. So you can do bleach. There's some little drops you can do. Then you don't have to rotate it. Typically it can last 5 years. That way it is a pain to rotate, and sometimes after I move, I forget to rotate it for a while. So, I forget to refill them after I moved. So, the best water stored is water you have actually stored, and not just empty containers. So if you have some containers, I would recommend you go and fill them. That is my water soap box. And also some considerations, if you're storing a lot of freeze-dried food versus like home canned food, you're going to need more water, because this takes water, right? Whereas if you stored, like cans of chili that you were just going to put on pasta, might not take as much water, although pasta needs water to cook too. And also cleaning, flushing. There's so many reasons, but there's ways you can store water that is not necessarily good for drinking, but you could still wash clothes or wash dishes with it. So you can keep kind of some of that gray water storage and then have also your really good water storage. So that is my water spiel. We'll keep
Can I
track
just
of.
add,
Go ahead.
can I add a couple things? Just two
Yes,
things.
go ahead. Of course.
So one idea for washing hands and dishes and all the things, right, is if you do your laundry soap liquid, and it's done, I will fill that with water. Now you have soapy water. And I have a shelf in my garage where that, yeah.
Bleach bottles too. Mm-hmm.
Yep, bleach bottle too. Absolutely. And then one thing that I've done with my water storage, mine is a little bit different because I didn't want to have to worry about it so much all the time. And I didn't want to have to rotate it. So for all those engineers out there, I had my dad help me because he is an engineer, but I have two 500-gallon tanks. If it was light outside, I'd show it to you. It's right outside my kitchen window right there. And I have two 500-gallon tanks off the side of my house that run into my water. So we hooked up UVC pipes or whatever that is. And so it's in my water all the time. And I have a little lever that actually turns it off from my house water at any time. So if I know the house water is bad, I can turn it off and I have 1,000 gallons right on that I can go get from. And there's a spigot and all the things. So that is something that I thought about, and I'm like, Dad, can we do this? And he's like, absolutely, let's do this. So, and that's probably going to go with my house when I eventually sell it. It's not going to go anywhere, but it's an awesome thing because it's always rotating, it's always being rotated, and I don't have to worry about it. So that's something else too. That's pretty cool.
A little advanced. You don't have to have that to get started.
No, you don't, but I wanted it because I'm lazy.
She's flexing her awesome water storage that now I'm jealous. So, okay, now we're going to talk about 3-month supply food, Krista.
Okay. Yes. So, 3-month supply food. So this can be a lot of different things, right? And it does not matter how you've done it or how anyone else has done it. It's what you feel comfortable with, right? So, and I'm just going to tell you, for me, I remember going into my grandmother's house as a kid. I was probably 6 or 7. She could always make fried chicken at any time, right? We lived in the South, in the deep South. She'd go out in the yard and get a chicken and we'd have it for dinner, right? Okay, so that's what I grew up on. But the biggest thing is that she could always feed a huge amount of people at any time. And I grew up, anytime my friends came over as a teenager, my mom was always able to feed them, right? I always have, and I've always had 3 months in my pantry at the very least, right? That's what I've always done because my family down south, lots of people come over every day for dinner. I don't know if anyone's from the South, but that's what happens, right? And so I grew up thinking that that was the norm, right? So the 3-month storage could be just what's in your pantry, right? It could be you just going to the grocery store, buying an extra can or an extra package of spaghetti and an extra jar of sauce, right? It could be whatever it is you need it to be, right? To have your 3 months on hand. It could be frozen food. I have fruit trucked down from Utah and Washington every year. Frozen cherries. I have fresh cherry pie or cherry cobbler because we're from the South every Christmas. So, I have a whole freezer full of fresh peaches and fresh cherries and all sorts of different things. I also can. So I will can my apple pie stuff for fall and everything. So, there's so many different ways. Another way to do your 3-month storage are these fun things called meals in a jar, right? So if you met me at a recent event that I've done, you saw these at my event, right? This is a chicken bake. It's awesome. All you do is add 3.5 cups of water, throw it in a casserole dish, throw it in the oven for 10 minutes, and you have a nice dinner. It's got your broccoli, your chicken, your instant rice, your cheese, everything in here ready to go. These can count as your 3-month storage. So here's another one, tortellini soup. This is awesome. So these things, they can all equal your 3-month storage. I love to keep a lot of meat.
Add my tortellini soup out too.
Do you really? Awesome. There's a reason why we're friends. So yeah, but I mean, I keep a lot of meat in my freezer. Number one, if it's on sale, I'm buying it on sale, right? And so I can keep that and make sure that I have plenty of that on hand for anything. But I've just grown up knowing that I can feed my family, right? And feed others that need a meal, right? So I've always had a 3-month supply on hand of just stuff that's in my pantry. Also, I can feed my friends and my neighbors and my family. I mean, there's been plenty of times where my sister has come over and gone, do you have any rice? Absolutely. Because I buy the big old packs at Costco, right? And so I'll give her a whole Ziploc bag full of rice and she's good, right? She doesn't have to go to the store. Saves on going to the store, saves on buying extra things at the store. It saves on overspending, all of the things. It's just amazing what you can do when you have that supply of food on hand at any time, right? Let's see, what else do I need to tell you about 3-month supply? Okay, so there is a calculator that Jody has developed. It's amazing. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and show you this really quick. If I can do that, blah, 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 if I can find it. Here we go. She and her sister-in-law developed this calculator. This is actually pretty cool. It's pretty amazing. Can you guys see that? Okay. Anybody want to give me a thumbs up? I think you can see this. So what this is basically it's an Excel spreadsheet, and we will have links to this in the report, right? In the, whatever it is, the follow-up thing. But look at this. This is easy. So you start here, your breakfasts. What kind of breakfast do you want? Do you want cereal? Do you want oatmeal? Do you want grits and eggs? I mean, I'm from the South. What do you want for breakfast? Right? What does that look like for you? And so you're going to put that here. So you type in, let's do cereal because it's easy, right? So we're going to do cereal. How much does your family eat in one sitting? So you kind of go through this and kind of pick out your meals, but it also gives you everything you need to go grocery shopping to go get it, right? And I'm not saying go buy it all right now. That's not what I'm saying. As you go to the store, just buy a little bit extra. Buy a little bit extra. That's all you need to do to start that 3-month supply, right?
Buy what's on sale.
And then
that's what I recommend.
Exactly.
So in this column, it's going to show you, like, if you had cream of chicken soup as one ingredient in some of your recipes, it would say for your 3-month total, you might need 60 cans, and on hand you have 10. So if you go to the store and see cream of chicken's on sale, buy as much as you can and update your calculator.
Yep, exactly. So, and if anybody sees cream of chicken on sale, let me know, because
it's so expensive now.
It's so expensive. Why? And Costco isn't carrying it. They have cream of mushroom, but I need cream of chicken.
So this is if you're really detail oriented. So when I started this with my sister-in-law, Julie, she was like, I'm just going to have lots of extra. And I was like, I don't really have like a lot of room in my tiny little, it was like a pantry this big. Now my pantry is like a whole room that's bigger than my old bedroom. So I was like, I just need to have like what I'm using this week upstairs, and I need to have my 3-month supply downstairs. So it helped me organize it this way. And I just took like all my regular meals that I would cook and I food storageized them. So if it called for chicken, I would have canned chicken. And then I put all the recipes in there, and then I had like it in 3 boxes downstairs. And then when it was time to rotate, I'd bring it upstairs and I'd cook out of that for a month, and then I'd replenish. So if that works for you, totally go for it. That's not really how I do it anymore. Now I've got a rotating shelf in my pantry, and I just have a full rack of each can of everything that I buy. I have a whole section of all of the condiments. Like, I just know I have the food that I need to have. And also I'm eating out of my long-term storage all the time too. So it's kind of, they've started to merge over the years, my 3-month supply and my long-term.
Yep, which is wonderful. So I'm glad we have these kinds of tools available to us. Jody and Julie, you guys are amazing. Just totally amazing. Okay. Any other questions?
Our old logos on there. This was like from 12 years ago with our
I remember those.
Our old colors. Our website used to be really pink. And then some man in a forum was like, their site's good, but it's really pink. So we try to be more gender neutral now.
Awesome. Cool. Okay. So next subject that we're going to talk about is long-term food storage. So this is a good one too. So this is basically just 3 months squared or tripled or quadrupled or whatever, right? So, and I think Jody's going to start with that. So let's talk about that.
You want to unshare your screen?
Yep, I'm going to do that right now. Working on it. Okay.
Okay, now I'm big again. Okay, long-term storage. This is where it gets overwhelming to people. So I remember when I started doing food storage, I thought that that meant I had to eat wheat and beans and have a $400 shelf and like all these expensive generators and things. And I was like a new mom with 2 little kids. We were so poor. We had no budget for this and it was just super overwhelming. So that's why like I started doing everything in little baby steps. But wheat when it like, so I was like, I'm all about the 3 month. I was getting my couponing and my groceries and I had all this extra food in the basement. But I was like, okay, that doesn't have a long shelf life. How am I going to do this long-term thing? So I went to my friend's house and she was like, want to come over and bake bread with me? I was like, bake bread? Like this was like, what the heck? And my mom never baked bread. Like this was so new to me. I know if you're like a homesteader, like you're laughing, but we have beginners on here too. So if you were like me, I went over and she was like, okay, we're going to grind our wheat. I was like, what? Grinder wheat? It's like, what is wheat? I don't even know what wheat looks like. So if you don't know what wheat looks like and you're just storing flour, that's fine. Store flour. It's better than storing nothing. Okay. But this is what wheat looks like. It looks like little grains of rice. Okay. And I actually really liked wheat and now I'm sad because I can't eat it anymore, but that's another story. So I just had this in this jar. This is actually a blender wheat pancakes mix. So the other thing that stressed me out about storing wheat was I don't have a wheat grinder. So I went on a mission because I was saving up for my wheat grinder. It took me a year before I could get one. But I was like, well, I'm going to find out all the ways that I can cook with wheat without having a grinder. And so one of the things I discovered on actually another blogger's blog was blender wheat pancakes. I made a mess on the keyboard with that baggie. Okay, so all you do for blender wheat pancakes is you mix your wheat kernels with your liquid in a high-speed blender. Like a cheap blender might not get it. It might still be kind of gritty. It would still be okay, but I just put in water and the wheat kernels, and then you add everything else for your pancake mix. So this has powdered eggs, powdered milk. It has some honey crystals. You could just put sugar, and it has, and so instead of oil, that would be in a normal pancake recipe. I did applesauce. So then I added a little more. Oh, and did I say powdered milk? So yeah, a normal recipe would call for milk, but I'm just doing powdered milk. So usually you would mix the milk and the wheat kernels in there and then start to grind them. I don't know. This is probably going to be really loud, but we'll see. And then I'm actually going to do that in a second. So while it's grinding, because it's going to grind a second, I'm going to show you the next thing. So basic food storage, like if you typed in like food storage calculator, there's ones that were put out. There were studies done, like what's a life-sustaining, like 2,000 calorie diet for people that's all foods with long shelf life, right? Have you guys all seen that online? Like when you decide you're going to start food storage, that's what you see. And you're like, oh, what will I even eat with wheat, oil, sugar, and like salt, I think, are like the 4 things on it, right? And powdered milk. So, grains can be wheat, it can be rice, it can be quinoa, it can be, so I had to kind of learn a lot of other grains when I went gluten-free, but there's so many good grains that you can eat. Barley is not gluten-free, but it's also yummy in stews. So there's all kinds of grains you can store. And then we're going to go into like some of the other food storage stuff later. But I did a blog post once, was like, what can you store with your food storage? And just add this ingredient and you can store this, add this ingredient and you can store this. So if you only had, I think, wheat, oil, salt, and yeast, like you can make bread, right? If you didn't have yeast, you could only make like a flat bread or like a tortillas or stuff like that, right? So as you add each thing, you have so many more foods open to you. So one of the big things is powdered milk and scrambled, well, eggs, powdered eggs. Okay. So I have tried all the brands of food over all of the years, and nothing is as good as the Thrive instant milk. Some of them have come close, but my family will drink this. They don't even know that they're drinking powdered milk. And so if I run out of milk, I just throw in my powdered milk. Sometimes I'll pour it in the jug so that they think they're getting real milk, but they don't know the difference. I cook with it all the time. We actually did a whole class on powdered milk. So when Krista's going, I'm going to show you all the things you can do with powdered milk. You can make buttermilk, you can make evaporated milk, sweetened condensed milk, you can make ricotta cheese, you can make yogurt. So this is a very versatile product that you want to have in your food storage. And also there's a really interesting thing that I learned was that you can actually sustain life with just powdered milk for pretty long time. It's full of nutrients. It gives you everything you need. If you have small babies or nursing moms, you want to have a lot of powdered milk in your storage. It is 50% off at Thrive right now. So it makes it, I don't tell you, a family can. So the big cans are $19.64 and the pantry size can $8. So you could get 10 of these, a pantry can pack for 81 bucks. So get it. Get a couple of cases of this that has the long shelf life. You're going to want it in your food storage for sure. Okay. So powdered milk. I'm going to share the link to the powdered milk class later. Powdered eggs are also huge if you want to bake. So if you want muffins, if you want cakes, anything, you're going to need eggs. But I have tried so many eggs and I was like, in my food storage, I just decided I'm just going to use powdered eggs for baking and we're not going to eat regular eggs. That was just what I decided because they were disgusting. But Thrive somehow has a special processing that they do. Like they crystallize these somehow and they make them turn into regular yummy scrambled eggs. Has anybody tried our scrambled eggs? Anybody on here? I see a couple people raising their hands, but I can't see all. But okay, they're legit eggs, right? They taste like eggs. So I'm going to show you, if you've never seen powdered eggs, I'm going to show you how easy it is to cook powdered eggs on my little thing here. And I'm going to do that while my wheat is blending. So I'm being super fancy here, but the blender is going to be loud. So I'm going to blend the wheat in here, and then I'm going to show you how I'm going to cook some of the eggs. And then we'll see how that works. You get live cooking show, you guys. You get what you get. If it's super loud, I can mute it too. Maybe I will mute it anyways. So I'm going to put this in for like a couple seconds, minutes, whatever. Gonna try not to make a mess. And my griddle is heating up while we go. So this is going to grind my wheat. This is replacing like having to do a grinder or an electric grinder, which wheat grinders are going to be on sale for Black Friday. So hit me up if you are in the market for one. I love both of mine. I have an electric and a manual. Okay. So I'm going to start this. Let's throw it all in. It's super loud. So I'm going to mute it and then maybe Krista can talk about this while I'm going to do my egg.
It's actually okay. We can't hear it. What am I supposed to do? I can't remember. Sorry, I was typing. She is making her eggs. So she is doing, I'm just gonna tell you what she's doing. So the scrambled eggs, they are amazing. I'm telling you, I love the scrambled eggs. So she's just adding, she's got the scrambled egg powder and she's adding water to it. These are, these are amazing. They really are truly amazing. She did a breakfast burrito one time for one of our cooking demos and it turned out fabulous. And now the blender's off. So
well, she could have been saying bad things about me because I couldn't hear anything.
I was actually I was your Vanna.
Okay. Okay. So my wheat kernels need to blend a little bit more, but that's okay. I'm gonna go back to that. So I'll finish the wheat while you do your next part, but I'm gonna show you guys how quick and easy it is to make the eggs. I had a spatula somewhere. It's back here. This is why I don't have a real life cooking show.
You want me to go?
I'm good. I'm gonna show the eggs real quick.
Okay, cool. These are amazing. I love watching these.
So I do usually It's just cooking like regular eggs though, but I usually have like veggies and sausage and cheese. I just add it all in to my eggs and it makes like a delicious egg scramble or omelets or whatever. These are awesome for like camping. So I donated food to Boy Scouts and they made like eggs in pouches and they cooked them in actually in the pouch. So you can boil water and dip a plastic bag with the eggs in. So all they had to do, they just carried it all dry and then they just added water. So guys, this is like a normal egg, right? You didn't even have to like break your yolks. You just stir it. And it's making scrambled eggs. And they're legit. It's not like cafeteria eggs, okay? They're better than that. They taste like normal eggs. I so promise you. Okay. So we got eggs. We got our grains. Grains can also be pasta. Like if you store spaghetti noodles, a lot of pastas, if you buy them from food storage companies, will have a shelf life of 10 years or so, which is funny because I started buying that stuff and now my stuff's starting to expire. So I'm like, we have to eat bow tie noodles every meal now for a month. Okay, my eggs are done. Guys, that was food storage. You could put this in your calculator. You could have eggs, a normal breakfast. And that's one of the big things for me with my little kids. And like Krista mentioned, we do that emergency challenge every year. I want my kids to not realize that we're in an emergency if we ever have one. I want them to that food to not be the stressor for them when we're already in a stressful situation. I remember my mom telling me, she's like, we always knew when times were tough because mom pulled out the powdered milk and TVP. And, like when we were unemployed and living off our food storage, like it was the same food we eat every day. My kids didn't even have any idea that anything was different. So yeah, there's eggs, guys. So Krista's going to go on and talk about legumes and all the other awesome things in long-term storage. So real quick, same thing with the 3-month supply. You can do your long-term storage. You can be very nitty-gritty and plan for meals. You could even do meal in a jars for your long-term storage, but your shelf life's not going to be, 30 years or anything like that. But you can meal plan, so you could keep them in cans, but have the recipes planned, or you can just do it by a calculator. I want to have 200 pounds of wheat per person, and then get cookbooks. Don't depend on the internet. So you want to have cookbooks with recipes. So like in my book, I have all these recipes at the back for all the foods that I teach you how to cook with. You want to have the recipes so that if you have a powerless emergency, you know how to cook with all your food, right? So make sure you have, there's so many good books with recipes. There's also good websites, but you can print them. So make sure that you know how to cook what you're storing and how you will put them together into meals. And Krista's going to talk about some things that will also help with that. So I'm going to mute and keep working on my pancakes. We'll come back to that. Miss Krista, you're up.
Okay. So long-term storage. So you want to put me on the screen? I'd rather have you on the screen, really, but okay. So long-term storage. This is a fun one for me because so long story short, my sister lived on the beach in Ocean Springs, Mississippi until Hurricane Katrina. And we went from a family of 2 to a family of 5, literally overnight, and animals plus animals. And so they ended up moving here, and because they didn't have a house, the water line in their house was 5 inches from the ceiling. So it was like right here, you can see on my little kitchen, that's where the water line was in their house. And so they were on that northeast quadrant that no one evacuated for because they were never ordered to evacuate. And when you live down there, you just live with hurricanes, right? So it's not that big of a deal. This one was supposed to be not that big of a deal. But at the very last minute, and everyone was fine. We didn't lose any lives or anything. So we were one of the lucky ones, but that's an emergency. I was now feeding teenage boys in my home, and it was just 2 of us that didn't eat a whole heck of a lot. So that was weird and strange, and you never know what's really going to happen in this life, right? So long-term storage, after that experience of like not even being able to feed my family because I'm running to the grocery store literally every day because we're all hungry, right? we decided as a family that we wanted to have a year supply of food on hand, right? So that was our goal as a family. And so we started, and that's how I found Thrive. I started doing my own research on what the best is, because I'm a picky eater. I don't look like I'm a picky eater, but I'm a picky eater. And so when I found that Thrive Life had mushrooms, I was like, I called up Jody and I'm like, dude, what is this? What do I do with mushrooms? This is amazing that I found mushrooms, but what do I do with them? And so this is where my food storage journey started. Was I had a situation. And since then we've had job losses, we've had health issues. You don't know when you're going to need your food storage, right? So long-term food storage is very important, and it is near and dear to my heart. So because I never want anyone to go hungry. So yes, I have a year supply for 8 adults in my house, but that means I can feed my neighbors during COVID and they don't have to go to the grocery store because they're in their late 70s. I don't have to feed the neighbors because, I know that they had a house fire and I can bring them food. It's not just for that. It's because we need to be good humans, right? And that's what I try and be. So okay, so let's talk about food storage, long-term food storage, and some reasons why. I'm actually going to show you because we've talked about some of those reasons and some of those things, right? So we can do meals in a jar, we can do frozen food, we can do all sorts of different things. But one thing that is long-term, like Jody said, I love this. I use this story all the time. I opened a 10-year-old can of chicken. Do you know what I spent on that chicken 10 years ago? It's definitely not what I'm spending my money on today, right? Not even close to the prices. And it's regular chicken. It has just missed its water, right? It's missing its water. So so it's lightweight, it's reconstitutable, it's all of the things. Freeze-dried foods are amazing because they are long lasting and they are shelf stable. So yeah, it was amazing to actually open that can of chicken and use that can of chicken that I bought 10 years ago. And it tasted and acted just like it was at the store, right? So and that's amazing to me. So really, freeze-dried foods are gonna be a staple in anybody's long-term food storage because they do have that shelf life. And the other thing is that it seals in the nutrients when it's actually freeze-dried. So those nutrients, you're going to have more nutrients. In fact, there are more nutrients in freeze-dried fruits and vegetables than there are in what you buy in the grocery store. Did y'all know that? That's a whole other class, and I'm not here for that. But when we're in a situation where we're going to rely on our food storage, we're going to need those nutrients, right? And we need them anyway. And that's why it makes for great food now, because there is more nutrition in freeze-dried foods. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more. I'm going to show you a calculator that is a food storage calculator that, again, Miss Jody, she's amazing. I'm going to share my screen here. It just has to pop up really quick. There's the 3-month supply one. I hope my tongue isn't out. That's how I work, people. I'm so sorry. Again, human. Okay. Oh, that one did not. Oh, it's in Excel. Hold on 2 seconds here. Let me go back. Share screen. Trying to find it.
I got my wheat blended pretty well in here. It's going to be a little grittier than if you ground it first into flour, but it works. It makes pancakes. So I'm going to just work on that while Krista's going.
Cool. I'm trying to. Let's see.
I put a link to the calculator in there if they want to get it.
Okay. This is weird. It's not letting me share my Excel screen for some reason. Let me try it one more time. Otherwise, we'll just do it without it.
So when we made that calculator, we took the basic ones with like wheat and beans and all that stuff, and we just added fruits, vegetables, and proteins, basically, because if legumes or beans are your only source of protein, it's not that fun to eat that way, especially for the smell that eating a lot of beans might bring about in an emergency, just saying. But
Right.
so meats are a big part of it. So we have that in the calculator, and you can put in like how many people you, oh, there it's showing. Perfect.
Okay, cool.
Still
Yeah,
has the, it just has less of the basics than in a traditional calculator that you may see online.
yes, exactly. Thank you for that preface. I appreciate that. So yeah, so this is really cool because if you, if you want to go by the books, right, it says everyone should have 150 pounds of wheat and 25 pounds of flour. And this is for a year supply, correct? I think it's for a year supply, right?
Yeah, this is 1 year supply for one person.
Okay. Yes, that's what I thought. Okay. So this is the
A number of
standards.
in the top, it'll change those calculations.
Okay, cool. So yeah, so this is basically the suggested amounts, right? So but here's what I'm going to tell you. I mean, it's great to have your wheat, flour, cornmeal, all the things, right? And your beans and your sugars and all the things, right? But um here's your fruits, veggies, and meats, right? And I'm going to tell you based on my own experience, all your fruits and vegetables, well, definitely your fruits, you should double the amount that you think you're going to need, right? Because those are the ones that go fast, right? The fruits and vegetables go really fast. In fact, the vegetables are they're awesome to actually snack on. But the fruits, if we're in a situation where we need to rely on our food storage, the fruit, I always double up on the fruits and double up on the yogurt bites. So if you've tried our yogurt bites, you'll know what I'm talking about, right? So this calculator is a really good idea, a great place to start. Again, that's why, and I don't want to harp on this too much, but the reason why I became a consultant was because I wanted my food storage, but I didn't want to pay full price. Who wants to pay full price? And right, Jody, you remember. So, I mean, that's what I was shopping for a food vendor when I had this goal as a family. And so that's what we did. And so I became a consultant and started learning all this stuff. And then I learned to love it. And I learned to be able to share it with others and help people figure it out because this is a real thing. I know based on our experience in Ocean Springs, Mississippi, I know the government's not going to take care of it. Right. I don't want to rely on anyone else. I like doing things myself and I'm just that kind of person. So I believe in having food storage and getting serious about it. So I'm going to stop sharing on this. And then I got a couple more things because we didn't talk about beans. Beans are amazing, right? We need to have beans, but there's a difference between regular beans and instant beans, right? Especially Thrive instant beans because they're easy and fabulous and they taste so much better than store-bought. Oh my gosh. They're amazing. They're so good. We did a Cafe Rio cooking challenge, Jody and I, a few months ago, where we cooked. I don't know if you have a Cafe Rio anywhere close to you, but they have a sweet pork salad. It's so good. So good. We actually recreated that here in our kitchens between the two of us, and it was fabulous. And I tell you, I usually eat at Cafe Rio once a week because it fits my schedules on Thursdays. So I go to Cafe Rio if I can during some meetings on Thursdays. And I always have their beans. So I'm always eating their beans. But I like Thrive's better. I wish I could actually take my own with me and put it on my salad instead of theirs. That's just me. But the long-term food storage is what's going to get you to your goal, right? To have enough food on hand for anything that comes your way, right? And that's the whole point of this, is that we want to make sure that you are prepared for anything and everything that comes your way. So I was going to make a couple of things. I know Jody is working on her pancakes, and I am actually going to make the compote for her pancakes. So instead of dressing, have you guys ever made your own maple dressing? It takes a minute, right? You have to get the sugar, you have to measure everything out, you have to pour in the water, and then it has to cook on the stove for like 20 minutes until you have maple syrup, right? It's a process. So I'm going to show you how easy it is. Oh, these smell so good. I wish you had smell-o-vision because these are amazing. I have strawberries here and they're actually pretty broken up, but I'm going to kind of break them up. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to grab, I forgot this, but it's right here. So give me 2 seconds here.
This is a problem doing it in two houses. I make the pancakes, she makes the fruit, but they really need to go together.
Yep. but we're going to make some really quick. So here's my blender. So what I'm making a compote, so I don't need like whole slices of strawberries, right? So, yeah. And I think she's making like 3 or 4 pancakes. So I'm only doing a little bit, right? Because I might put it over some ice cream later. So here, I'm gonna do this down so you can see. Okay. So it's little bits. I like it chunky, but it's not like huge slices of strawberries, right? I can go in here and actually break these up a little bit more if I want to, if they didn't get all broken in. So we're gonna do that. Yeah. So we're gonna add some sugar because you know the compote has sugar in it, right? So we're gonna add, and I'm just guessing. You've seen me do this before. I'm just guessing. I know that jam takes a lot of sugar, so we're gonna stop there. And then all we're gonna do is pour a little bit of water, and I'm gonna stir. And you know what? I think I got the water perfectly because this is going to actually gel up a little bit, right? Because I wanted a little. You just pour enough water into the consistency that you're looking for, right? So I know this is. I'm gonna let this sit for a minute while Jody's pancakes are cooking. But it's going to be like syrup, right? So I've kind of got it a syrupy consistency, right? So
And
this is going to be perfect to go over Jody's pancakes.
you can use whatever fruit too. So like strawberries are on November specials, raspberries and blackberries are 30% off on the Black Friday. So what we like to do is every month when we do these classes on second Tuesday of the month, we feature what is on sale because like I said, we like to be always cooking with whatever is the cheapest at the moment. So whenever I buy my Thrive, I'm only buying it when it's on sale or free or half off.
Right? Exactly. This is true. So, any questions about that?
So store fruits and veggies, guys, and the meats, hopefully.
Yes. So I was going to actually make chicken salad for you because I have chicken salad ready to go. But I know we're running out of time quickly. So I don't want to, should we skip that or do you want to see it really quick? I mean,
Let us
literally.
know, guys, if you're okay on time, we probably have about 10 minutes or less left. Liz,
Yeah.
we do cooking classes usually once a month. If we want to do more training on like preparedness and food storage, we may be adding that or doing like a little part of that at each one if that's something you guys are interested in. Maybe while do you want to just make your chicken salad and I can talk, or you can talk while you make it, or what do you guys want?
Yeah, I can do that. It's really, really, really simple. Okay, so I've got chicken salad. I put this in my booth over the weekend. I did a booth at Pinners. And all we did was this is chicken, celery, and onions. And I'm literally gonna put in here as much as I'm gonna eat. So not very much, right? Because I've already eaten dinner for today. And here's my water. And I'm literally just gonna pour a little bit on here and stir it, right? Just a little bit on there, stir it. And you can actually see, can you see the water at the bottom? Can you see? Let's see, let me do it this way. Well, actually it's all dried up. So that means there's no water at the bottom. So I need a little bit more. So this is how easy chicken salad is, people. You know, a little bit more. Because again, you just want to get everything wet so it starts to rehydrate, right? Now you can see the water in the bottom of the bowl, right? Oh, there's the camera. See water? There's water in the bottom. So we're going to let this, normally I would let this sit, but we're just going to go ahead and finish this off just because I'm stirring it and stirring it and stirring it. The more I stir it, the more water seeps into that chicken and comes back to real life. And look at the green. You can see the green in there, right? You can see the green celery. You can see which ones are the onions. It came back to life. So now all I do is take my little bit of mayonnaise, which I really only need like this much. Make a little bit more. And I need salt and pepper. because that's how I roll.
Meat is one of those things that's really scary when you're getting started with food storage and you think it's going to be disgusting. This is normal food. And we'll show you that. Like I put a link to our Cafe Rio demo. You guys, every month we show you how you cook with this, how you make real food. So in an emergency, you're, like I said before, like you're eating the food that you're used to. You're eating what's on sale. You can save so much time and so much money. Like she can make that dinner faster than you can even drive to McDonald's. How much healthier is it? How much cheaper is it? I have 7 kids. I cannot feed my family for less than $60, even getting pizza. And so even if cooking with freeze-dried food on the surface, when you're buying it and you're like $80 for a can of meat, there's no way you're saving money. But you can totally save money if you're using it in replace of eating out or have, those expensive things. Or if you only need a little bit, some days it's just me and my husband and we just scoop a little 1/4 cup of meat out instead of thawing a whole pound of hamburger. Sorry, I interrupted you, Krista.
No, you're totally fine. You're absolutely that's why we do this, right? So yeah, and that's pretty much I'm done at this point. I think you're up on the next one. Unless I can finish out with like, don't forget your seasonings. Right? Don't forget the seasonings that you need on hand and the oils that you need on hand and all the things that you need to cook, right? Because flavor is important, right? So don't forget about those. I bought a few at Costco over the weekend actually, and it was great because I knew I was running low on a few of them. So I'm stockpiled for good for seasonings. But yeah, definitely have those on hand as well too. So, and desserts are important too. So this is a really easy dessert. I know this is Jody's favorite. Look, Jody.
Cranberry Christmas cookies. Cranberries are 50% off. I'm so excited.
She's buying cranberries from on sale.
Lots of cranberries. They didn't have them for a long time. And then they were like, well, it's going to only come back seasonally. And then they never come back. And now they have them. So I'm excited.
Yep, absolutely. And I love them too. I make this cranberry salsa. I'm so excited for Thanksgiving. That's out of the freezer.
Cranberries.
So good.
Okay.
It's so nice to just put all your ingredients in one dish and then always just have to add water. That's it. That's all you have to add. It's awesome.
Water.
So
okay, guys, we have been through so much. So the last thing is powerless cooking. So you can have all this food, but if you have no way to cook it, you're going to be like chewing on dry asparagus out of cans or something like, or eating like cold chili in your cans. So I want to talk briefly about powerless cooking. This is another thing that is an entire class. I have done whole classes. I've done these at big, huge expos, self-reliance expos. I've done them online. I've done them for church groups. I'm going to show you, we kind of videoed it, pieced it together in a video.
Jody, put you as big.
Oh, sorry.
Please.
I was trying to keep you big.
No, don't.
So I put together like some of my favorite tools in that link that I just sent, and it has fuel handouts and like there's also little cheap stoves you can make. But really, if you have like a heat cell, like a sterno can, you can boil water. If you can boil water, you can make these. You can actually eat these without boiling the water. Just takes longer to hydrate. But what I usually recommend, these are my big things, and I have done this a lot. This is what you actually use. If you can afford this, and I will always share links if they're on sale. This is a solar oven, all American sun oven. It's a little bit heavy. So if you can cook with free fuel, you're going to want to do that as much as possible. You can pasteurize your water so it won't usually get to a rolling boil in there, but it'll get hot enough that it can rehydrate your food and cook food. You can cook casseroles. Anything you would cook in a normal oven or in a crock pot can cook just fine in there. So usually most places get like 65% of the days. I think he told me that in Utah, 65% of the days are sunshiny days where you can cook with the sun. So cook for free. You don't have to store a ton of fuel. Fuel storage, there are limits on how much you can store of different fuels. There's safety concerns with storing in your garage or in your house. So it gets overwhelming. Like I said, whole class. Like we can share more on that if you guys want to dive deep. The other thing I recommend everyone has is a cheap little butane stove. You can get this 20 or 30 bucks on Amazon. I love mine. I use it for all of our cooking demos, so I can be cooking without standing like this in my kitchen, right? So I cook right here for you. Butane is safe to use and store indoors. So It comes in. Mine is stuck. It comes in these cans like this, but I can't get it out because this is, I don't know what I did. There we go. Live TV. Okay, so it comes in cans like this. You can store it inside. It's safe to use inside, not to be confused with propane, which is not safe to use inside. So if you have like little stoves like this is a miniature propane stove. So you might see these little things, or like your gas propane tank, a big propane tank you can connect with different stoves and camp chefs and all that stuff. So all of these little tools, like you'll see them on sale, like you go to the sporting goods stores and Cabela's and all those, you can find all kinds of little things. This is one that Instafire makes. It's a kind of like a rocket stove. You can make rocket stoves. It sets like this. You set your pot on top and you can burn any fuel inside. So you want to be able to have access to like something that will burn wood, because wood you can always grab. It's good to have like a camp stove or a barbecue or something outside that can use your propane or your charcoal. Have something indoors that uses butane. I believe sternos are okay to use inside too.
Yes.
Yeah. So that is like my rough and dirty powerless cooking. Like start with something small and cheap. Make a little number 10 can stove with all your cans. Like if you're always like, what do you do with all these old number 10 cans? You can make a stove or make a little oven, or I made like a grill. So I cut it and put all the pieces out like this, and we put a layer over it and roasted hot dogs. So there's so many things you can do. You can make a homemade solar oven out of a pizza box. It won't like cook, but it heats things. It melted cheese for a quesadilla. Okay. So there's all kinds of stuff you can do with powerless cooking. Look at those links I did. And if you want to do a deep dive class, let me know. It's something that I love doing for big groups, and I'd be happy to do it another time, or we can do it on one of these another time. So we're almost done. 5 minutes. You guys are awesome. Thanks for hanging in there with us. We had so much to go over. Like food storage is huge. I think you're up, Krista.
I'm up. Oh, okay.
We're talking Black Friday.
Yes. Actually, can you do that while I'm finishing names for the contest?
Yes.
Can we switch it up?
That's okay. Oh, and we were going to talk basically, so once you got your cooking, all those things Krista showed in the 72-hour kit, like, your hygiene, your first aid, warmth, light, sanitation, power, protection. You might need knives or guns or whatever, shelter, warmth. All of that is like a bigger emergency preparedness umbrella. That's a whole other class. I mean, each of those things could be a whole class. How do you stay warm when the power's out, right? There's so many different ideas, and it can get overwhelming again. So just pick something, like each month, pick something to learn about, something small to add to your collection in those categories. And just think about, okay, am I going to leave my house? Am I going to stay at home? What would I need? What would the emergency be that I would need these supplies for? And that's kind of how I think of it. So Krista's working on our giveaways entries. So I'm going to show you what we're giving away. So I showed you my book, Food Storage Made Easy. I am going to read you this book eventually because I wrote it a long time ago and I've learned a lot since then, but it's still very good. It has checklists teaching you how to build a food storage from scratch. If you are a beginner, it is fantastic. Oh, thank you, Cindy. Oh, also, I have to give a shout out to Hunter. I saw somebody's got a little Hunter that keeps watching our videos, so I wanted to say hi to him. Okay, this is the next book. This is my new book I made called Meals in a Jar Made Easy. So I give instructions how to put together like over 40 different meals, desserts, mixes, and it has the labels in it. It teaches you how to make them in like batches of 10s. And so then you can make a big group. It is super fun to do meals in a jar in a group, in a church group, in a mom's group. We are doing a lot of these classes. I know Krista just did an expo and had, I think, 10 or 20 people wanted her to come to their home and help them put together meal in a jars for their families. They're great gift ideas for neighborhood gifts. So I love stocking up on Black Friday on the specials and putting together a bunch of these. And so I'm working on some meals that use the specials. So keep an eye out for that. I put in the chat link a way to be notified of our demos coming up. So you can sign up for that. And And also like reach out to us, reach out to whoever invited you. If you want to do a meal in a jar class, it's something you're interested in, we can help you out. It doesn't even have to be in person. It can be virtual. So we're going to give away a copy of this book. We're going to give away a meal of your choice. So some of the meals are on sale for the November specials. I don't think the bucket is on sale, but you can get like a bunch of the dinners at a discount. The new meals variety pack. So 2 chicken teriyaki, 2 butter chicken, and 2 beef pot roast for 25% off. But the bucket is just a good deal in general. So we're going to give away a meal of your choice as a free prize. And 4th will be $25 in Thrive credit to buy whatever you want. So, oh, and then the Black Friday specials. So guys, these start Tuesday for customers. Okay. So I'm going to put a link to this flyer. It shows you the biggest discounted items on the first page. That's not the first page. This is the first page. So the biggest items are spinach and cranberries are both 50% off. And it goes down. There's some 40, some 35. There's sausage, and potatoes and pepper jack cheese. There's stuff to make zuppa toscana, which is delicious. There's also a big, huge kit. So people have always asked for like these big kits if they just want to get everything and be done all in one. There's 30% off the price on that if you buy it in the kit. So the best way to shop is through the delivery service. You get free shipping on all orders over $99. So get with whoever invited you here. They'll help you get set up on your delivery. You can load it up with everything you want to order, set it to ship on Tuesday. If you want to shop a day early, you can sign up to be a consultant. So you don't have to sell, but you can if you want to. If you love sharing and teaching people, it is a fantastic thing that I'm super glad that I'm a part of. And so you can do that, and that gives you a perk of shopping a day early. So some of these things like the cranberries, there's also a limited time item that was supposed to be only available at convention, but it is dragon fruit right here. It's all, once it's gone, and it probably is never coming back. And so if they go out of stock on that first day when consultants are shopping, like you're just out of luck. So if that's something you're worried about, you want to stock up, let us know. We can help you get set up with that. It's super easy. You don't have to sell. You just do your order every month, and that keeps you active as a consultant. You get paid on your own orders, and you can share and do fun stuff like cook for people. Like whoever knew we'd be television cooking stars, right? Like I always dreamed of being a professional TV chef, but I'm not very professional, unfortunately, but I do have fun, right? Tuesday, next Tuesday, the 20th is when the sale will start.
21st.
Which is actually my birthday. Happy birthday. So the 21st is the first day of shopping, and it ends on the Monday after Black Friday. So they run it for a week, so you can shop and be done with it before the holiday if you want, or you can hop on Friday after you've done cooking and then you're ready to think about it. So I do recommend early because stuff runs out, but there's usually still lots of good stuff for sale later in the week. And we'll be posting and sharing and emailing and posting on our social medias with different fun things throughout the week and the weekend, highlighting different items. So just follow us, give us a follow, or talk to your consultant who invited you and find out all the good things. Did I cover that?
I think so. Yeah, I think that's it.
I'm gonna put a link to the flyer for Black Friday. So make sure you join one of those text lists if you want to get notified of the next demos. Make sure you talk to whoever invited you so you're on some kind of list so you get notified of the sales when they go and all the extra goodies we do with cooking and teaching you guys. And if you are wanting to host a class like this, let us know. You can organize like your church group, if you have a book club, if you have sisters. We love to teach and help people learn, because I know I don't really want my whole neighborhood coming to my house in an emergency. I want to teach them all how to be prepared. So if you feel the same way, you can go ahead and host. And there are some ways that you can get kickbacks for hosting classes and stuff too. So if they end up making an order, then you can earn some free food. So let us know. I'm going to stop recording. If people want to stay on and ask questions, we'll hang out for like maybe 10 more minutes. But I'm going to stop the official class. So thank you again for being here, and We'll catch you guys next month. We'll do focus more on cooking as opposed to education, but it's kind of all in one. But if you want to see more of the education stuff, hit us up and let us know what kind of things you'd like us to deep dive more into. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, was that if you want more of this, let us know, because we don't know if you don't say anything. So, all right.
Hi, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy almost birthday to me.